You take your flight. 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 Chaos and darkness. Chaos and darkness. Chaos and darkness. And take your flight. Let there be light. Let there be light.
We are discussing who is God. And we have started to see some of the properties of God, the characteristics of God, particularly when he acts as the Lord. And we got to a point yesterday when we discussed the showdown between Pharaoh, a human king, and the Almighty God, the King of Kings, and the Lord of Lords. And we discussed at that point that God was making himself manifest in power using a human hand called Moses. And he gave Moses two attributes of himself. One, the word, the spoken word that is powerful, not only in the mouth, but when spoken. It does not return until and unless it accomplishes the purpose for which it has been spoken. Two, he manifested in himself in Moses through the power that he bestowed on him in the staff of office which he gave him. And anytime Moses raised up that staff, or anytime Moses commanded Aaron to raise up that staff, whatever is intended to happen would happen. And that is God for you. He possesses the word which Jesus described as authority. He gave his disciples authority. He possesses the authority to say to this, go, and it will go. To say to that, come, and he will come. And apart from authority, the physical power, the manifesting power that accomplishes all things, he bestowed both on his servant Moses, so that Moses may be as God to Pharaoh. That is, Moses may be an ambassador of God. Moses may be the representative of God on earth, wherever he is sent. Who is God? He is the Lord that possesses all authority and all majesty and all might. All authority, all majesty, all might. Most people don't know that. And the disciples of Jesus did not know that until he gave them the authority. But there was a man who was not a disciple of Jesus. That man knew. That man knew part of who God is. And that man knew that the man that he was looking at, the man he came to see, who was called Jesus, is the representative of God on earth, the link between God and man. That man knew that this Jesus that he was looking at possesses all the characteristics of God who sent him. That man was the man who went to Jesus and said his servant was sick. Could Jesus do something about it? And Jesus said, okay, I'm coming. I will come and heal. your servant. And the man said, oh, no, 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 you can't do that. You can't do that. Of course, you know the man that I'm talking about, the centurion, a soldier. He said to Jesus, you don't have to come. Just say the word. For you are a man of authority. He said, for I myself as a soldier, I'm a man of authority. I am a man of authority. If I say to this jump, he will jump. If I say to this sit, he will sit. How much more you? I know who you are. And Jesus marveled. And Jesus said, you are right. Go, be it done as you have believed. The lesson to learn that is that when you know who God is, that he is a God of authority, and you hold him to that authority that he has, he will do what you want instantly. He will not deny that he has the authority. And it's faster. Jesus will have followed him home, and that will have taken some time. Another man went to Jesus. Jairus was his name. He did not know about that authority that Jesus had to speak and it to be done by remote. He waited and waited and waited until Jesus finished what he was doing. And even before Jesus was able to go and attend to him at home, the woman with the issue of blood came. And Jesus attended her. And when he has finished all that, that's when he followed him home. You see the time that had been wasted. And during that time, his daughter died. News came to him that, don't worry the master again, your daughter had died. And the man was about to give up. But Jesus said to him, don't be afraid. She'll be all right. So that man did not understand who God was. The power to raise the dead. The power to speak, and thousands of miles away, things will happen. He didn't understand. But the soldier, the centurion, understood. That is the difference between somebody who knows God and somebody who does not. Again, there's another difference. Many Christians do not know who God is. But every demon knows who God is. Every witch, every wizard knows who God is. They are afraid of him. That's why they torture those who want to follow God. That's why they make life unbearable for those who want to serve God. Because they know that they have been condemned already. And they know that if these people get to God, their own lot will be worse still. For example, anytime Jesus encountered people who are possessed with demonic spirits, as recorded by the Bible, instantly the demons in those people will be perturbed. The demons will be ruffled. And the demons not challenge. The demons accuse Jesus. Why have you come to torment us? We know who you are. You are the Son of the Most High God. Leave us alone. It's not our time. You see, demons know who God is. Why can't we Christians know who God is? Because we are careless. We assume, we take things for granted. Why? Because we enjoy so much grace that it doesn't bother us to know who the giver of the grace is. Tonight, start bothering. Start concerning yourself with the desire to know who it is that is giving you such tremendous grace. Who it is that is saying to you, give your life to me and ask me for the water of life. But for those who refuse to know who God is, he teaches them who he is the hard way. Going back to Exodus chapter 7. The Lord God Almighty gave Moses further instructions that they should go and waylay Pharaoh on the way to the river Nile. For God has one or two lessons to teach him as to who wields superior authority. Pharaoh was really getting careless. He thought his own temporal authority that was derived even from God himself. He thought his temporal authority can be superimposable on God's divine authority. What a mistake he made. So the Lord told Moses in verse 19, say to Aaron, take your rod, stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over the rivers, their canals, and their ponds, and all their pools of water, that they may become blood. And there shall be blood throughout all the land of Egypt. There shall be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. Who is God? Is the one who is the epitome of intelligence, precision. The Lord is very clear in his instructions, and he expects people who are his servants to listen to the instructions and carry them out to the letter. There are no three ways about it. You carry God's instruction to the letter, full stop. Moses listened very carefully, and he transferred the command to Aaron. You know, it is this practice that the military had copied. In the military, on the parade ground, it's either a sergeant major or sergeant or corporal that conduct the drill. And when the commander of the garrison shows up in the morning or any time on the parade ground, and all of them are on the line at attention, the colonel, who is the commander or general, whichever one is the case is, will not talk to the troop directly. He will talk to the sergeant. Tell the boys to be at ease. And the boys are hearing, but they dare not. When he tells the sergeant, then the sergeant will tell the boys, and the boys will be at ease. So the superior gives the instruction to the one under him, and that one will pass it on. The chain of command, the level of authority. Verse 20 says, Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded. And they did it in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants. He lifted up the rock and struck the water that was in the Nile, and all the water that was in the Nile turned to blood. And the fish in the Nile died, and the Nile became foul, so that the Egyptians could not drink water from the Nile, and there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. But, a big but, or rather a small but in this case, depending on how you look at it. Verse 22 says, the magicians of Egypt did the same by their secret acts. God does not do anything by secret acts. It is the devil and his people that do things by secret acts. Beware of secret acts. Esoteric forces. Run away from them. They only lead to evil and destruction. God does not work by secret acts. Your secret acts only have few steps before they run out of steam and turn like a boomerang and hit you in the face. The power of God is different. Secret acts come from secret societies. The magicians performed by secret acts. So Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. And he would not listen to them as the Lord had said. Pharaoh turned and went into his house. And he did not lay even this to heart. He did not even think about it. To him, it was a competition. It was like a duel. He saw himself as being as powerful as the God of Moses. But he was an idiot, a compound fool. Why? Because even the power of the secret arts were not his. They belonged to his magicians. He was a naked fool. He deluded himself. The same thing with those of you who go to Babalawos, who go to fetish priests or to Indian magicians or whatever. You delude yourself that you are strong, you are powerful, because they gave you a bowl of soap or talisman to put on your neck. Unless you are stupid. You're not powerful at all. What you got came from those fetish priests, those babalawos. They are not yours. And what is more, you do not know what they gave you. The thing is that when you go to them and you think they have given you a charm that will protect you, most of the time they are giving you something that makes you become their slaves, so that they will always frighten you in your dream. You will always come to them, and they will always take all the money that you toil so hard to get. Think again. Abandon secret acts. If you are listening to me today, and you are part of those who go to church, and later on go to Brixton, or Lambeth, or anywhere, to the babalawos around the place to get charms to put into your shop where you sell gari, so that your gari will sell. There is coming a time that rats will eat all your gari, and you go so bankrupt that you'll never know what hit you. Your initial success is like the initial success of these magicians. Moses turned rod into snake. They turned rod into snake. Well done. We are equally powerful. Are you? Moses has turned water into blood. They turned water into blood. Bravo. We are colleagues. Are they colleagues? You see, they were so stupid. God turned part of the water into blood. The remaining that they could be drinking to show their power, they also turned it into blood. So what was there to drink? That's how you compound your life when you run to the fetish people to help you. The remaining part that they could not get, you surrender to them. You see, they are the ones messing up your life. And there are some areas of your life that they could not touch. They have not been able to touch. But when you go to them, you hand it over to them. So they now occupy the whole of your life. You are the type of people that they should be singing the type of song we used to sing when I was a little child. How stupid you are, how foolish you are, my boy. Come on, come out of them. You cannot serve God and mammon. You can't say you belong to God and be involved in secret acts. There are some of you, I know many of you, you join lodge, esoteric societies so that you can do well in your business or you can be acceptable in the society. You handed over your lifeblood to Satan. For what? For what? You signed away your eternity. You signed away your soul. You, born a decent creature, and you are a director of a company or the head of an institution. At night, You will dress in large garments. Then you will enter the coven. Then you will strip naked and get involved in different sexual urges and be crying like an animal and be bowing down for image of a goat and be sucking the breast of rats or old women who should have been destroyed long ago. What type of person are you? The indignity of it all. And you are a professor in a renowned university, and you get involved in such things. Don't you have any shame? For what? What does it profit you? If you gain the whole world, Nobel Prize or no Nobel Prize, and forfeit your soul, everything you've ever worked for, think again. If you had known who God is, you will have gone to him for excellence. And he will have given you the excellence that shines. Excellence that cannot be tarnished like a bronze or like a silver that is tarnished when exposed into the air for so long without polishing. Don't hand what is left of you to your enemies. 7 days passed after the Lord had struck the Nile. Then the Lord said to Moses, go into Pharaoh and say to him, you see, God has all the time in the world. He's going nowhere. He doesn't report in a factory, neither does he have a cabinet meeting to preside over. God can afford to sit down morning and night. He doesn't need to eat. In fact, the more trouble you give him, the more amusement you provide for His Majesty. 7 days passed. The people were still struggling to get water. Then the Lord said to Moses, go into Pharaoh and say to him, thus says the Lord, let my people go. You see, there is no room for a coward in the service of God. I repeat, there is no room for a coward in the service of God. Anyone who will serve God, part of the requirements is boldness. Boldness. I repeat, boldness. After Moses departed, and God called Joshua, in Joshua chapter 1, God told him all he told Moses, that I will be with you and so on and so forth. And in verse 6, God gave him these words, be strong and of good courage. Be strong and of good courage. For you shall cause these people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only, verse 7, be strong and very, very courageous. Being careful to do according to all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded you. Turn not from me to the right hand or to the left, that you may have good success wherever you go. Good courage, strong courage. There is no room for a coward in the service of God. A servant of God will be confrontational. Any servant of God who is not confrontational is not of God. Moses was confrontational. Elijah was. All the prophets were confrontational. Jesus was. The apostles were. How can you be a servant of God and not be confrontational? You have been sent to confront the evil and defeat evil and those who harbor evil. The apostles knew it. And they knew their shortcomings. And after Jesus, who was always shielding them, had left, they saw their nakedness. And in Acts chapter 4, after they had been arrested 1 or 2 times and have been flogged like school children and put in prison, they began to understand the nature of their call. You who say you are a servant of God, and you are being kicked ordinarily, and you are complaining that you are suffering, you still have not got the picture. Did Jesus not say if they did this to him, they would do it to you? You cannot avoid suffering for the sake of the cross. It's just not possible. So when the apostles began to understand that this is a new era, that the time of Jesus was past, there was nobody to suffer for them. Jesus was the one being abused, whatever they were hiding. I mean, you tell me, when Jesus was alive, did the Pharisees say a word against the disciples? No. They did not accuse the disciples. They did not question them. So the disciples were just out of the picture, and they loved it that way. But after it was gone, now they were in the front line. And having been bruised once or twice, they knew they were weak. And some of them might have been thinking, are we not in the wrong profession? Should we not go back? And very quickly they prayed in Acts chapter 4 for help. Acts chapter 4, verse 29, their prayer was, and now, Lord, see, they are praying to the Lord, to God as the Lord. And now, Lord, look upon their threats. That is the threat of the Pharisees who had arrested them and who are threatening to arrest them again. Look to their threats and grant to thy servants to speak thy word with all boldness. All boldness.